All right, so we should be live right now, but before we kind of get this interview underway, is there anything that you want to plug or anybody want to shout out?
Um, Shout out to my coach Sean, Coach Holman, Coach Fitch, all my coaches. So yes, sir.
Yeah, definitely. Well, anyways, I guess we'll kind of go. We'll talk about something that happened, I guess, pretty recently. I saw you post on Instagram today that I guess you took unofficial visits to TCU. So how'd that go?
It went great. The facilities are top tier. At any Power Five school, the facilities are going to be really nice, and they had some nice stuff. And I like the school. I mean, it's pretty much 20 minutes down the road, so it wasn't far away from me. But yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, was there at all a favorite part of the visit that you had in particular?
The photo shoot was really cool. Photos, putting on the jerseys, seeing all the jerseys and stuff was really cool. But also getting to spend time with my family, getting time to spend with my little brother and dad, it was really cool to go on a visit with them too. Especially it was really close, so we didn't have to really move really far.
Yeah, was that your first like or not your I guess your first like visit in general? Or have you taken other unofficial or official visits before?
I've taken about like 5 or 6 unofficials. I went to ORU during the summer. I went to Kansas State, also Colorado State, and I went to Oklahoma State as well.
Yeah, all right. I just wasn't sure because I saw. I guess this was the first time you posted from the photo shoot, so I was just curious. But I guess what's it like? You know, just kind of getting back into the normal. Well, I guess for you the timing's a little interesting, but with Corona and everything, you know, some players like didn't really get to experience the usual recruitment. But like, what's it like for you? You know, kind of getting to go through the recruitment process. I guess normally.
You know, like with the COVID stuff, it's been really fast on my phone. I mean, like about 4 or 5 weeks ago, it was a new coach or two coaches every day on my phone, getting a text from, and a new coach showing up at my school. But everything's pretty much back to normal. Recruitment's going really fast, and it's a huge blessing.
Yeah, has it? I guess. Do you have I'm gonna assume it's probably the visit. But do you have like a favorite overall part about the recruitment process?
I'd probably say just the relationships you get to build with coaches. Like getting calls from head coaches is really cool, just because you see them on the big stage, see them on TV. When you were a little kid watching like the Big 12 and getting a call from like Coach Bruce Weber in the middle of the day is really cool also. So it's really cool to see like how they do things, and it's finally cool to be in the recruitment process because I've been dreaming of this since I was a little kid.
Yeah, and I don't know like if any of the other schools that have offered you are as close to you as TCU is, but regardless, like you do have a lot of Texas schools that have shown or I guess that have shown interest in you or that have offered you. So I guess how important is it for you to you know stay at home or stay in state, or I guess if you want to maybe be a little more like unbiased, I get what like why would it be cool if you ended up committing to a school in state?
You know, Obviously being in the state would be really cool because I'm a Texas kid. I like my country music, I like my barbecue, and but I don't see it as I'm staying in Texas as a as a as a thing for sure. I love being up in Florida, or I love being up north in the cold. Love skiing, love the snow. I mean, I could end up anywhere. I have no clue, but staying home would definitely be cool. That's for sure.
Yeah, and since you mentioned like I kind of I haven't done this in a while, but I don't know why, but anytime I had a Texas kid, I just kind of asked them the most like stereotypical questions. Like I don't know why I thought it was funny, but I thought it was funny for myself. But hold on a second, I forgot my computer on do not disturb. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was funny for myself. None of the players laughed. I still found it hilarious. But would you consider yourself, I guess, like a stereotypical kind of Texas guy because you kind of made that statement?
I wouldn't say stereotypical. Like, I mean, it's kind of funny because like I do like a lot of country things. Like I go fishing. I mean, I wear cowboy boots to school sometimes, but it's it's definitely a stereotypical thing to say if you're a Texan, if you're like considered a cowboy, but no, not a lot of people are like that unless they live in the middle of nowhere, like in some western cities. But no, I wouldn't say I'm a stereotypical Texan, but I'm definitely a little bit country in me.
Yeah. Now, actually, I interviewed this kid. I think he committed to I want to say Belmont, but I also don't think it was at school. But I might have been at school. But he committed to some Division I school. He's a senior right now, and he lives in like Georgia, like the Atlanta area. And he actually would go hunting. I don't know if you've done that before, but that's something he did. I'm not sure that's something you do as well.
Cut out. Hold on. I gotta
Oh,
refresh
no,
it.
you're good. All right, sounds good.
All right. Hold on. It's refreshing.
All right, I think it honestly was just I think it was just like a little tiny lag on his part, but he kind of follows the rules, refreshes. I'm looking forward to hearing this response. So yeah, let's see, he's right back in here. All right.
There we go. All right. It cut out. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I asked. So there was a kid that I interviewed before. He kind of lives in like the Atlanta area, but he's actually gone hunting before. So I don't know if it's something you've done before.
No, I'm a fisher guy. I like my fishing stuff. I do fishing. I don't hunt. I don't hunt.
Yeah, I mean, I personally do neither. I tried fishing because like my grandpa, I guess, or he doesn't even fish really, but like he more does like like he kind of like scuba dives or like hikes like stuff like that. But I guess he's probably fished occasionally. One time, like I tried, I had some like cheap fishing rod and went like I don't even know. There weren't even any fish probably in like the canal. I was like trying to. It was bad. I was like probably 5. I don't know. It was kind of dumb. But ever since then, I haven't fished since.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, fishing. The fishing's my thing. I like pulling a 6 pound bass out at the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but I guess the thing is, like, most of the time, you're just like standing there, kind of just waiting, aren't you?
I mean, you throw it out there, kind of bait the fish, reel it in. Bass fishing's different. You were probably like catfishing or something where you just throw it in and you sit and you wait for fish to come bite it. I go
I don't
bass
even.
fishing where you just throw it out there, start digging a little bit, but it matters what type of fishing you go. Sometimes it gets really fun. If you go to a place like you catch a fish every cast, it's really fun.
So what's been, I guess, your maybe I guess you could give me either like your best or maybe like your favorite cache.
My favorite what? I'm sorry.
Your your favorite fish that you got. Either like the biggest
Offer.
one. Or, like, yeah, ever. Either the best or like your favorite one.
I don't really have a favorite, man. I like all the schools that have offered me.
Oh no, wait. Oh, I was talking about fish.
Oh, fish. I thought you
Yeah,
said
sorry,
offer.
sorry. I was like, wait,
Oh,
what?
I caught like a 9 pound bass before in Gonzales, Texas. We like drove like 5 hours. Like I slept the whole way. I thought the first cast I threw, I caught like a 9 pound bass, and that weekend we caught like probably 80 bass each. It was crazy. It was the craziest weekend of my life.
And and then this could be a dumb question. I'm like, do you eat the bass or is that on the fish you can eat? I'm not really sure.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah. We kept like probably 50 or 60 fish, and we cut them up and had a fish fry at my house, and we had like 4 families over, and we fed for like 4 whole families. It was a blast.
Yeah, that actually does sound pretty crazy. Have you ever like when you fish like has it ever been so heavy like it kind of pulls you almost like overboard or whatever? Or does that not really happen? Because I mean you play basketball, so you're probably kind of big, but
That's like deep sea fishing.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
like
okay.
going yeah. That's like
Yeah.
going for sharks.
Yeah, I feel like it's I would say more popular here, like in Florida. Like I live in South Florida for people to fish, like in the sea and everything, and not go to a lake or stuff like that. But for you, like, have you only gone, I guess, freshwater fishing, or have you also gone saltwater fishing before?
I went saltwater fishing when I was a kid, but that was like when we were in like Florida one time. Florida got the best fishing. Y'all got
Yeah,
peacock bass. Y'all got all the great bass. but I did it once when I was a kid, but I just like going to a lake or a little pond and throwing it in there and reeling it back in.
Yeah. So would you like, let's say you guys took a family vacation to Florida. Like, would you try, like, would you kind of make it a little important, maybe imply a couple of times, like, I want to go, deep sea fishing or saltwater fishing or whatever?
Totally. What's funny is my little brother and my dad, they took a trip all the way to Galveston and they went like 200 miles out, and they went like overnight, like stayed the night in the ocean and stuff, and they were on like a really nice boat. And so it was I would never do that. That's too
Yeah.
scary. Yeah, that would not be very fun. And they got caught in a storm too, so
Oh gosh.
I just I'd be throwing up everywhere. Yeah, no, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But like going for like 5 or 6 hours would last.
Yeah. I'm just imagining like if I took that trip with my dad, because we're not very like, I mean, we like sports. That's kind of like our exercise thing, but we're not into the more outdoorsy adventurous stuff. I don't know if I'd survive if my dad and I just went out that far, especially if there's a storm. Like, that actually sounds kind of crazy.
Yeah, that they came back home and they talked about it for like a week. It was crazy.
Yeah. So I guess, is your brother, is he like even more into fishing than you are?
Um, he no, we're about the same. I mean, we go whenever we can. My dad's we're big golfers too. Like we like golf and fish, and my little brother, he actually is a freshman in high school, so we're super close. I mean, we're like best friends. He's pretty much my best friend. So
Yeah.
he plays football at my high school. He's a quarterback there. He's as a freshman, he's on JV, so he's doing pretty good. He's catching up to me too. He's about an inch shorter than me, so he's a pretty good little football player, and he actually has like a crazy mullet. Like
Yeah, I
it's this.
saw. I didn't want to say anything, but I saw and I'm like, wait, what? I saw today. I didn't know what to say.
Yeah, it's kind of gross, but yeah, he's got a little country in him too.
Yeah. So I like how you touched on the football, because I just find it interesting how, like, with like where I live. I mean, I know Florida is like especially South Florida is like a hotbed. Also like Texas is, but I know like for most schools, if you're playing JV football as a freshman, like you're good. But my school's JV team, I think, is like a walk-on team. Like my school's the one bad school basically. So I don't really understand how it works, but I guess how cool is it almost knowing, like, you're kind of this like star basketball player, and then you kind of got your brother who's, a star football player, and he plays quarterback, which is one of the most important positions. So even you did mention how you guys are super close, but just how do you guys, both being two star athletes in your respective sports, kind of make you guys closer?
Um, we definitely have some competition in between us. We we talk trash every day. I mean, we're just like any other brothers. I mean, we fight and then we make up the next day. But it's cool seeing like where we started as kids, and how we really kind of just got into who we are now, and how good we are. It's because of our parents, and they put time into us, and they put effort into sports, and they knew we could be something someday, because I mean, we're talented kids and we are blessed. So I definitely say that it's definitely really cool to see how we kind of came up and where we are now.
Yeah. And in terms of, like, I guess, high school football in general, I mean, I love high school basketball, but I do find it really cool just how big high school football is there. I mean, what's it like on a Friday night over where you live?
Oh my gosh. I live like you can see like our high school stadium. It's pretty big. You can see our high school stadium from my backyard. And so like Friday nights you can hear like the band or like the speaker from my house, like my backyard. And so basically it's a blast. I mean, all the whole basketball teams on the front row, the student section, like we had the whole student section filled. And so we had a rivalry game against Richland, and they have like the same stadium as us. And so we were on the visitor side, and it was just a crazy game. I mean, we lost by like 7 or something. We lost on like the last minute and on like a Hail Mary pretty much. And it was a crazy game, but it was a blast. I mean, Friday nights in Texas are definitely through the whole year too. Like it goes from football straight into basketball season, and on Friday nights everybody comes to the basketball games, and then it turns into baseball. And baseball, our school at baseball is really good too. So our whole school year is packed on Friday nights. So there's always something to do on a Friday night in high school in Texas.
Yeah, I'm curious for basketball. Like, we'll at least like for my school, we will like occasionally have a Friday night game. Usually, games I feel like are more on like a Tuesday or Thursday. For you guys, do you have like a decent amount of games that are on a Friday?
Oh yeah, yeah, we definitely do. We have like events on Friday, Saturday at other schools, but we're like district games. Like, oh my goodness, it is packed. Like
Oh yeah,
I think we have seven seven district games at home. Like every single one of them is packed. It's such a blast. I mean, we get there at like 6 o'clock. Our games at like 8. And there's people packed in there at like 7 o'clock, an hour before the game, just ready to go. And it's a blast being on the high school basketball team in Texas.
yeah. And I found it cool too. Like, of course, Texas is known for the football and stuff like that, but I'll see. I mean, the gyms might not be like they might still hold the same capacity as like my high school gym, except for they make the gyms almost like mini arenas. Like, is that kind of how yours looks, or is yours more like a standard high school gym?
We ours is like a standard high school gym, but we kind of have a bigger stand, like a bigger stands kind of. It's not like arena, but we have a like an arena that we play at. It's called the Thomas Coliseum. And so basically it's like in Haltom, it's like down the road pretty much. And we'll play there twice a year, 3 times a year. We have a tournament there this year actually. And it's a legit arena. It's really cool playing there.
Yeah, because like I'm not saying whatever. Think it's Duncanville. Like, theirs is. I mean, theirs is like pretty big. But then wherever Keontae George went, I remember like his gym looked kind of big too, and he didn't even go there.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of 6A schools that have like arenas. Like Duncanville has one, Louisville has one, Coppell has one. Um, there's a bunch of schools that have like really nice arenas and that big jumbotron and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. The one thing that's crazy though is the Allen, Texas, whatever high
Oh
school
my,
stadium. That thing is insane.
they have the craziest football stadium. They have the craziest basketball arena. So does Mansfield has like a crazy football stadium too. So it's yeah, they definitely got the the good stuff over there.
Yeah. So is it kind of fair to kind of make the statement that everything's bigger in Texas, or what would you say about that?
Definitely, everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah.
Definitely a fair statement. You can definitely say that.
Yeah, so now transitioning, I guess, more into just you basketball and you personally. So I guess last year was your sophomore year. You could even say like some people even consider like in a way. I don't know how your school went last year, but for at least the kids at my school, like most schools, they were basically all shut down last year. The juniors are practically freshmen. Like they didn't even get to really finish out like a quarter of their freshman year. So what was your sophomore season like? Having like a wacky freshman year, then all of a sudden like sophomore year is kind of a little weird too.
Sophomore year was definitely weird. I mean, we had the decision to go to school or we had to stay at home and do online school. But the first month I went to school and then COVID like broke out like crazy. And so I went online for the rest of the year pretty much. And I woke up at 10 o'clock, went to practice, got treatment, pretty much went home, did homework, fell asleep, and did the same thing every day. It was kind of weird. It kind of made me a little bit lazy. Kind of made everybody in our school a little bit lazy. But I mean, we definitely got better. I mean, we get better every year. So I mean, doesn't really matter if a COVID's happening, but we at my school we definitely get better every day.
So when you were like doing the online school, like if you went to school in person, it was like normal school with teachers and everything. But then online school was more just they had assignments for you and you just kind of did them.
Definitely, we just actually what's crazy is we had like computers at school. Like you did your work on a computer, so you did
Yeah.
this that you did online that you did in the school. And the teachers, I mean, we all had to wear masks. We had to like social distance, this and that. So basically, it was just like going somewhere to eat. You have to social distance yourself and your own thing.
Yeah, that's not for mine. Like I did online basically the whole year. Like I would go to a class occasionally, but it was pretty much like we had like a Microsoft Teams meeting thing. It's like Zoom, whatever. Your whole class would be on it, and it was literally school. Same thing as school, except for like online, like on your computer, and they would teach and whatever. And and you have to wake up like I mean, compared to now, like I gotta sleep in an hour, but like it still felt like I was getting no sleep. So it was it was definitely annoying, but also like I mean the transition back to normal school pretty easy because it was the same thing just on my computer.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was a crazy year for sure.
Yeah, the best though was like I guess the middle or whenever like your school got shut down your freshman year, like my sophomore year, that was so awesome. Like I can't, I never. It was just so everything was just so all the standardized tests like done. Like I think there was like one class where probably if they made me take like the end of course exam, like I still would have done well, but I probably would have gotten a B in the class. But instead I ended up getting an A in the class. Like everything was just so much easier. I would go. I would just play. Well, I would play basketball until they shut down the courts. Just come home, relax. Like everything was awesome. I have to admit, like that was just a great because it was like summer starting in like March or whatever. Like you can't really ask for anything better than that.
Yeah, it was like a 6 month summer.
Yeah, it would have been like even better if if like they kept sports the whole time.
Oh my
If they
god.
like, I I don't know what I would have. I would have just I would that would have made everything even so much better because I was like a little bored at home. I had nothing to watch on TV besides like I guess he's like replays of games or I think oh yeah that's why I did. Do you watch The Office or no? Or have you
Yeah,
seen it?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like watched all that like every day because we had like no teachers. We would just do our work. So I'd wake up at like 10:30. I'd go. We'd watch like two Office episodes, do some homework, and then I was up to like 4 in the morning. I'd play like Fortnite on my phone with my friends. It was so much fun. Like it
Oh
was a
yeah.
lot of fun.
I would fall asleep at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, it was so bad.
It was so, and I had to watch some. I like watched like a whole season of Breaking Bad in like 2 days. That's how boring it was.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say like it was definitely I mean, I even thought too, like I would just go to my friend like I wouldn't go obviously inside their houses, but I would just like I basically bike, oh yeah, I'd go on like bike rides with my friends, like I was like be like in their driveway, like just talking to them, whatever. They could be in their house. Like it was really a good time for sure. But something that though wasn't there was AU basketball, which I mean for a player, it's kind of like a big disappointment because one, it's a lot of fun, but also that's where a lot of exposure comes from. So then what was it like for you, I guess, coming back to AU basketball finally?
So it shut down in like March, and we came back about 2 months later with practicing and stuff. So I mean, practicing, we went like right at it. Like my coach was going crazy. Like we sometimes had like 2 hour, 2.5 hour practices, and we usually practice like an hour and a half now. So it definitely was a big change practicing. We would practice at a different place too, because we practiced at a high school, and then we have to drive like 35 minutes away to go practice at another gym. So it was definitely a big change for us. But as a team, we still do the same stuff. I mean, we still play the same way as we did before, and it was just a weird transition because what's funny is in March, in between like March and that 2 month period that we had, like I just went to work. Like I put myself in the weight room, and my vertical increased that in that 2 months about, I'd say, 15 inches. It was crazy. So that's where I put my work in that quarantine. I just decided I wanted to have hops, and so I worked on it, worked on it, and now I can jump really high, and that's what separated myself from where I was.
Yeah, and I'm curious too, like since you mentioned how I guess you kind of have some bounce now, but then you're also a shooting guard, and like I saw like you could shoot. So where do you like when you play? Like what's kind of your role? Like are you more going in a corner and or maybe like as popping from a pick and trying to shoot it, or now are you maybe like driving a lot more and trying to jam it on someone?
I do a lot. I say I can sit in the corner and I can shoot, and I can also come off a ball screen, make good reads, good passes. I can go I can go jam on a dude if I need to. But I definitely say like a strong suit of what my hops brought me is probably rebounding. I was a 6'3" skinny kid that could barely get off the ground and barely dunk to putting people in the rim. And so I definitely transitioned to more of like using my hops for a basketball standpoint, not dunking every time. I just started getting rebounds, pushing the ball up the floor, and offensive rebounds as well, putting back shots. And so I made extra points, extra shot takes for my team. So I definitely used my hops in a lot of different ways, but I also did the same stuff. I shot same way. I shot a great percentage last year. I thought I shot about like 36% from three as a sophomore, and in the summer I shot really well also. So I definitely used my hops as a standpoint, because if somebody was scooting back because they were scared of me to drive and go dunk it, they would stand back and I just shoot a three. I mean, it made it easy on me, and a lot of people didn't expect me to be able to bounce. And once they saw the first time that I did it, the first AAU game when I came back, I dunked on like a 6'8" lineman guy. He was massive, and like the video like blew up in like one night. It had like 8,000 views on Twitter, and I was like 14 or like 15 at the time. So it was kind of crazy to see. And then everybody figured out that I had hops. And so it was kind of a crazy summer. It was insane.
Yeah. Are you at all trying to maybe like transition from being a shooting guard to maybe a small forward or even like another different position or no? Because I mean you could obviously do many different things. So is changing positions at all something you're thinking about?
I mean, it's up to the coach. I'll play any position. I'll play the one if you need me to play the one. I can handle the ball really well. I'm a low turnover guy. My assist to turnover ratio as a sophomore was 3-1. So I'd say like I can do anything. I could go play the four and I could set ball screens and pop if you need me to. I can go play the three and go driving lanes and kicking the ball or playing great defense. I'm a great defender as well. I mean, I stay in front of people. I get blocks off the backboard. I mean, I can do a lot of different things. I can play a lot of different positions. So I'd say whatever the coach needs me to play, I'll play.
And I don't know if you know who these players are, but they play for Overtime Elite right now, the Thompson twins. And I mean I think they're crazy athletic. And when I interviewed them, like I've interviewed them a few times, and one of the questions I asked them was like, because every time we get the ball, it always seems like they're just trying to dunk on someone or they're just trying to go to the hoop as fast as they can. So I asked them like, what do you prefer doing? Do you prefer dunking or I said no. I said is dunking like your favorite thing to do on the basketball court? And they said no. I actually like shooting. Like I like shooting a three more. So I'm curious for you because I don't know. I feel like if I could dunk, I think it'd be my favorite thing. But for you, you could do both things. So what do you prefer to do? Do you actually prefer shooting more, knocking down a three, or would you rather dunk the ball?
I'd definitely say shooting. I mean, knocking down a big shot is better than going and dunking on somebody, because I feel like you're only gonna get maybe a dunk a game, but shooting you're gonna have to shoot 10 shots, 10 good shots a game, 10 clutch shots a game that you need to make. And so I'd say definitely shooting. I mean, percentages have to do with a lot. I mean, I don't practice dunking. I mean, I do crazy dunks like after practice, like I'll lob it up, do a 360 or whatever. But no, I'd definitely say shooting's a big deal, and I definitely take shooting way more serious than dunking, because I mean, dunking's not that important. I mean, you could lay the ball up and still be the same guy.
Yeah, and this question's like maybe kind of an interesting one, but like I've seen a couple of quick clips of you playing, and I think like that's kind of like a special skill set where you basically do all things. Shoot. You said you could defend, you could dunk. Like that's obviously a lot of pretty valuable things, and of course it's not like you could do it, but you could do it well. So that's obviously pretty important. So I'm just curious, like why do you think you're so underrated?
Um, I'd say I'm so underrated because of where I started. I mean, I never started on I've never been on a ranking board in since probably 4 or 5 months ago. I've never been ranked. I've never had stars. I've always been underrated. So I'd say being underrated now, I'm still underrated. Like a lot of people know me like on the national scale. Like I'm not ranked on national rankings, and I feel like I should be. I feel like I should be top 100, even better than that. I feel like I'm a lot better than dudes that are in front of me. But rankings don't matter in my opinion. Being underrated is just a mindset that you got to take it as. I mean, I always look at myself as underrated. You have to, but like I'm gonna go at anybody I see and anybody that's in front of me. So definitely, I'd say being underrated is a good thing. I'm always gonna be underrated. You know, I love it.
Yeah, and I like how you kind of brought that up because it's like if you're number one, if I guess I think if it's more as like you can never be satisfied. You know, if you're number one and you're like our great number one, then someone's gonna pass you. It's almost like if you're number one, you can't say I'm underrated if I'm number one, but it's more like I want to be number one and make $1 million plus in the NBA or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I can go hoop versus DJ Wagner or whatever his name is, number
Mhm.
one kid in the country, and I could outplay him. You know, I had a better day than him, and it doesn't mean that I'm gonna be the number one ranked guy. I could care less if I'm ranked number
Yeah.
one. You know what I mean? So it's definitely I love being unranked. You know, I love going at dudes that are ranked and killing them. I love being that guy, and everybody's like, "Who's this guy?" You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So definitely, I like being that guy.
Yeah. Has there been like any of those moments maybe stand out to you the most where you play a good game and you kind of look in the crowd and see people like, oh, like I know I like making those funny faces, like this kid could hoop or something like that. Like, do you have like a favorite moment where it's been like that?
There's definitely been crazy moments. Like I dunked on one kid one time, and everybody's going crazy, like, "Who's this white boy?" or something like that. Yeah, there's been definitely been plays where everyone's like, "What the like? Who is this kid?" But there's been a lot of moments like that because people don't know me. People don't know my name, and my name's hard to remember, hard to spell.
Yeah.
Or so definitely, it was. There's been a lot of moments like that.
Yeah, I will have a little full disclosure moment. I actually originally I checked, but I thought some reason the I went before the R. Like I didn't even like try to read it and saw if it made sense, but I've had that way. And luckily before he went, I'm like, shoot, let me change it before he comes on. Like took everything off, and I'm like, all right, good. He didn't join it yet because I did what's it called, mess up the two letters. I,
Yeah, a lot of people
gotta be
don't know.
honest.
How to name. The
Yeah,
funny question is like if somebody like knows me or whatever, or like tries to be my friend or something, they're like, "How you spell my name?" Then they don't know how to spell it. It's so funny.
yeah, it just looks like I mean,
It's
like, pronouncing it, like, easy, but it's more just looking at it, like, this is I've never seen it before, you know? So
it's
that's why.
it's good. It's all good.
Yeah, what do you know, are you, like, named after somebody or kinda like how did you get that name?
He was a famous, like, the Lou Gehrig's disease, like ALS.
Yeah, it sounds super familiar.
So he was a famous baseball player in the 1920s, and
Oh,
there's a disease named after him. So that's I wasn't named because of the disease. I was named
yeah, I was like
yeah, not because of disease or whatever, but I was named after the person. So yes, yeah, that's where it came from.
yeah, the name definitely, when you say baseball player, I'm like, "Oh, okay, I think I know who this guy." I don't think it was alive during that time, but, like, you know, that the name sounds very familiar, but, I wanna go back now to another statement, where 'cause, again, you know, you're so underrated and you're still trying to get better and better, and you kinda brought up the story about how, you know, you really worked on your balance and your athleticism and you're able to dunk pretty well and everything. So what else are you trying to work on and what other kind of skill sets do you think we're gonna see from you this season that's gonna impress a lot of people that they didn't know you had?
Definitely my charge taking ability. I mean, in practice every day, I at least take one charge in scrimmages, and I think this year I'll take at least two to three charges a game, and I mean I'm a change of possession guy. Like I get blocks off the backboard. I can a lot of defensive stuff that people don't think I can do. I'm gonna be able to do this year, and I think staying in front of my man definitely. Like I can guard any man, any guy that you put up against me, and I'll stay in front of him. So that's definitely a surprising thing y'all will probably see.
Yeah, I gotta give a round of applause for the charging because I always talk about it. I always say like if players take charge like that because no one wants to do that. Like I don't even want to do. I remember I took a charge and we had like a charging drill. I don't know what I did to the kid, but like he knocked the wind out of me. Like he pushed the ball so hard into my stomach. I had no idea like what I did to deserve that. I mean, I would try to take one, and I was thinking about it. Like if I got put in a high school game, I'd rather take a charge than get a bucket. I'd take a charge, get in the person's face. Like I think that's almost cooler than hitting a shot. But saying that, I mean, if you get 2 to 3 charges a game, I'll be blown away if you don't get, like thousands of offers after that, because that's tough.
Shout out to Josh Joe. Holds the charge record at my school, and I'm gonna beat it this year, Josh.
Yeah.
Oh my.
How old is he?
He graduated. He was a senior when I was a freshman.
Okay, yeah, I was curious. I was like, is this some like ancient charging record, or if it's kind of like a recent thing?
It was a recent thing.
Yeah. So what's your advice? Because I got told, like, you know what it means, like when you get the wind knocked out of you.
Yeah.
So I mean, that happened to me like on my first charge. It wasn't too bad, but like that's what happened. So obviously, I'm always a little hesitant when I'm going to take a charge. So for you, like, what's going to be your advice for people to take charges? Because it's not like, I mean, it's fun when you get the call for yourself, but like doing it sometimes could kind of hurt.
I definitely say I don't set up a charge. Like I don't stand there like this or like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just act like I'm playing defense, and if somebody hits me, I just fall down, and that's how I do it. But getting the wind knocked out of you, I just say scream as loud as you can and get excited, just so you don't have to worry about it or think about it. That's what I do.
Yeah, that is definitely smart for sure. Well, but anyways, made it to the end of the interview. I'm just gonna ask just one kind of good question to wrap the whole thing up. What do you want your legacy to be like once you step away from the game of basketball?
I definitely say to be a guy that always had good energy and positive energy in the basketball world. I don't want to be the guy that people were like, yeah, he was a negative thing on basketball. I just want to be remembered as a positive thing. I don't like being negative. I'm a super positive person and a happy person, and make the game of basketball a better thing. And I just want to be remembered like that.
For sure. Well, anyways, man, I really, really appreciate you for taking your time coming on here. I mean, I don't know if like you like plan your responses or anything, but everything you said, like if everything was, I'm gonna assume it's true. If everything was true, like you got a lot of potential. But I was kind of, I'll plug your Instagram real quick. So make sure you guys give us a follow on Instagram. His is at Gehrig.Rivers. I'm at HoopsFL. And anyways, for 2023 Birdville High School shooting guard, Gehrig Norman. I'm Isaac Fleischer, and this has been another iHoopsFL interview. Peace out, guys.